Welcome back again and again and again for the update on the MFT style of top. Now, I promised, and I failed in that promise, to show you the setup. Not that you're probably going to miss out there too much, but low battery, not conducive to making videos. So I did the setup and marked out the holes thus far, and I've now got a board, one of the first components of the MFT style of top, with, well, lots of holes, 50 odd holes in there, and they went very well. However, like most things that we do, unanticipated problem cropped up, or I'm not going to even call it really a problem, a glitch. My drill press, from the center of the drill to the post of the drill press itself, 167. My row of holes need to be 50 mil in from an edge and 150. So works okay, doesn't it? Until you make your setup with your first row of holes 25 millimeters off of the edge when it should have been 50. Now, should have is subjective, but the way I had worked it out, remember I said about the 50, 150, then 150? Yeah, 25 is the first row of holes, not 50. Meaning I've shifted the row here over 25 mil, and I only had 16 or 17 millimeters of wriggle room, but I moved everything over 25 millimeters, meaning this row, this row here is, I can drill this row no problem. When it comes to the 400 wide, God, I'm losing words, 400 wide panel, I can't drill the second row in. Now there's a join out here somewhere, out there, and because of that 25 mil shift this way, this row can't be drilled, not on the drill press at least. So that's a little bit of a nuisance. Now here's the possibility, not one that I'm going to follow up though. I could reduce this panel down by 25 millimeters. Could do, but definitely not going to, because there is no real need for the three panels to be doweled together like I've got them. They benefit hugely, especially in the setup or set out, or initial set out anyway, as I'm doing now. It's almost required. But once it's all finished, all the holes drilled, there is no issue having panels that are narrower than was first had, because the pins themselves will hold them with the second layer. But I'm not going to do that. I'm going to wind up doing the holes along this line when I come to mark them, because I haven't done that yet. I wanted to get this one set up first and to check everything was going well. And that was one of the glitches that I found. Otherwise it's going pretty good. I've chamfered the underside and the top side. Very easy to do when you've got the tool to do it. They say that you can use them by hand or in the drill. Yeah, it's never going to happen by hand. 150, well, how many is there? 50, yeah, 54 or so, 56 holes in this area alone, and I'm only just getting started. So the other thing is, when you're watching people hand drilling them with the jig and what have you, you realize just how much time it would have taken them, and why they have a little bit of a jaundiced view of having to do it that way, be that they get exactly what they want. This, for any of the issues, it's really easy to do on the drill press, and you can do each hole one after the other quite easily. They've all been marked as well as I can mark them, and it went very well actually. Makes a bit of a mess, but what's unusual about that? One of the questions I had was the longevity of this tip, the actual drill bit itself, and just how sharp it's going to remain going through melamine all the time. Yeah, that band-aid was there for a reason. I was brushing out the swarf sort of thing, just so I can see the tip more clearly, and I pulled my hand, pushed my thumb down, and then just pulled it back a little bit. Yeah, they're still sharp. After drilling those 56 holes or whatever, yeah, still sharp. So at this stage, I think I can put aside my concerns. It will dull over time because melamine is quite a hard surface. But yeah, hard compared to my thumb. Yeah, okay. So a nice little nick, just a small one, but enough to make some of the leakage probably not so good on the surface of my material here. So, okay. So one of the things I was a wee bit mindful of or concerned about in the beginning, not so much now, was that yes, I can drill all these holes. Lovely, thank you very much, let's move on. But how do I reliably drill this next set? If they are as accurate as I hope on all of them, then there is no problem just sliding like you would in the other systems. Let's just move this along. There is no issue about repositioning this bar and sliding it along and register it on some of these other holes, or maybe even 3 holes, just to give you that little bit more positive location. Mark all the other holes and then drill them. Possibly that's what I'm going to do. But then I thought to myself, why not just do exactly like I've done before? Put one of these registration gizmos in the hole, slip the bar over it with the appropriate sized bush, of course, and then use the 3-4-5ing method to square up the bars off of the other already existing holes. That seems to make more sense and gets away from the fact that you're trying to, or you are trying to align the holes just in one dimension. Whereas if I can do it in 2 dimensions, or you could even, or lines. Dimension's not probably the right word, but in one line there, maybe you could introduce a wee error, maybe. But if I have the 3-4-5 method, maybe even include this just to check the validity of the square, all the rest of the ideas. And then I've got more chance of having this set of holes more accurate. Ditto, once I've done a set of holes here, I can replicate in a mini version here what I'm doing here. I can just leapfrog the holes. Reword that. I can do this and a set of holes up this way, and then I can leapfrog the bar across because I'll have this new set of holes and these already existing holes that would allow me to put the pins in and, as I say, leapfrog the bar across. Every time I can reduce the number of movements and increase the number of holes per move, can't be a bad idea. And it's just more ergonomical, it's just going to be much quicker. So at the moment, my one glitch was having set the bar up at the 25mm. It was just that the bar itself was flush against the edge here, plus the logic being if I just get out, I wanted to keep this fence as far this way as possible, so that can sit in there, and having it 25 millimeters more that way gave me 25 more millimeters that way. Not really a biggie, but nonetheless, that's what I wound up doing, and I'm now reaping the rewards, or not, of now having to hand drill some of these other holes, which really don't need to be drilled at all unless they're necessary. They will be marked with that little drill, the tip of the drill, so they'll be there if and when they're required. So yay. What else? There was something I was going to make a comment about there, about the spacings this way. No, it's gone. That's one of those things that... Oh yes, no, I did remember. Oh, there you go. I'll just pull this out. The idea here is that I want to be able to use... Let's just pack that away. I want to be able to use the... If I come around the correct side, if there's such a thing, just let me get organised. As I keep on saying in other videos, I have not prepared this earlier, but if I wanted to use, say, let's just have a look here. Let's just have a look. Let's say I want to use this bar. Now, remembering, or if you don't remember, having not watched the video, this would be where the track saw would sit, or the track rail this way, cutting backwards and forwards this way. To get a reliable distance from the track rail, therefore the saw, to a member here, what I considered doing was making a set of parallel rules, like you see in the cartography or nautical, mapping situation, or just on a drafting board, the old style drafting boards, where you've got, hang on, I'll get another one. You've got two rails sitting side by side, connected by a link that when you move, it moves the two bars apart, but remains parallel. Now, that means that I can move the bar to the dimension, mouth's not working, dimension that I want, lock it off, and therefore that becomes my fence that can have the ripping piece, or the piece that I want to cut, that butts up against it. So measure from there to the actual tooth of the saw blade, like in a conventional bench saw type setup. I can do that with the track saw, put that up against the parallel rule or gauge, do the cut, and I know that I've got a parallel cut on my piece of material. Why am I saying that when I've already made a video about it? Well, if I set it up so that it can register in the holes that I've just drilled using these bars, I can then use these bars to act as the rule, more or less. Or at minimum, make a bar up so that it has these holes in it so that I can register it in the same manner. The new thought was, well, if I've got a link that pulls them together here, when they rotate, they'll only rotate out a small distance, because the link itself will be the limiting factor. Says I. Why can't you use something like this with the different holes and use that as a link? The link could come out further here, and when I want a bigger distance, I can just move it across the appropriate amount of holes. So that means I could make the parallel arms go out that distance, not just that smaller distance. The issue, or not issue, but the point too is I can make a bar up with spacings of not 100, but I could make them up at 50mm, meaning those incremental moves can be more easily obtained or achieved. So that's the thinking there. More than likely I'll make up a separate parallel. I've got some 40mm 10mm thick strips of steel, those which were said maybe would become a how would you call it, a garden stake, because originally I had made, coming over here, oh here it is right here, this was what I was pegging a lot of my hopes on, would be my bar. So I got some of this marked very, very accurately centerline, and then 100mm spacings, drilled and tapped, had a look at it and realised it was ever so slightly out. Now, I could have carried on and achieved what I'm achieving over here, but if I start out with an error, trying to counter it each time and keeping track of it, yeah, it's going to bite me at some stage. However, thinking now that if these are marked close enough to register in here, then I can use this bar for these parallels. Now, if it's not accurate enough, it becomes the garden stake I was talking about, and I've got some blank pieces of this that I can use this to make my new set of holes. Maybe. And especially now that I've got sharp drills, because I've got the drill doctor working and sharpened up all my drills, I can possibly entertain that idea. So yeah, lots of things still ahead if I want to develop it up to the extent I want, but I did like the idea of having the adjustable parallel ruler or gauge so that I can keep on adjusting the, changing the link position to give me a bigger and bigger capability gauge. So yeah, there's all these things, isn't there? Fantastic. Rightio, that's it. I better go put our camera back on charge because it was rather low. But anyway, that's where we're at. Sorry I didn't get the setup, what I was doing there, but I will show it. It's so simple to do. Maybe 2 minutes to set it all up. That's all it takes, if that. So you can't complain about that aspect of it, at least. So there we go. Okay, that's it. Putting the camera on charge. See you in the next one now. Bye.